Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, my goodness.
We are so excited to have everybody here as you're starting to come in here. We're so happy. This is a really fun day for us. In case you are new around here, I'm Hillary. I'm here with Patty. She's right over
Hello,
here, top
everybody.
corner. And we are the co-founders of Hound Hugger DIY. And we also have some very special guests with us here today, as you can see as well.
Yes, we do. And we're so excited. We haven't done this in quite a while. We used to chat with lots of dog loving companies. If you followed us over the years, and if you haven't, shame on you. Like, click that like button and follow and comment and all the things below. And especially today, because we have such amazing women. Okay, everybody bow down. Like, we're not worthy. These cows are amazing. They're from Paws with purple. Let me say it right. Paws for Purple Hearts. I get nervous, so I chat a little fast. So I got to slow my roll here a little bit. But we have Dani and Erica with us. And these two amazing gals do some really phenomenal things that touch our hearts for military veterans and their pets. And so I'm going to take it away to you gals. If you could just kind of just tell us a little bit, like, say your name so everybody knows who is who, and then just kind of give us a little bit of background on what you do at Paws for Purple Hearts.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Dani. Yeah, I can go first.
This is Dani.
Thank you for that.
I'm Dani. I am the marketing communication specialist here at Paws for Purple Hearts. So I basically handle anything and everything that's not dog training, while also sometimes doing some dog training with the trainers. Trainers teach me.
She helps a lot on the dog side.
A lot of like our social media and marketing. We do our newsletters, blog articles, community outreach, like you name it.
Okay.
So I wear many hats.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been here for about this month will be 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And
congratulations. That's
thank
great.
you.
Has it been that long already?
It almost has,
Wow.
yeah, at the end of April. And I this opportunity kind of just fell into my lap one day. Somebody reached out to me from Paws for Purple Hearts when I was job hunting and didn't even know this organization was listed or that it was real. I thought it was
a thing. Yeah.
And it just kind of ended up being the best of both worlds because I've always wanted to work with dogs, and I come from a military background as well. So both things are near and dear to my heart, and then just kind of was like, why not?
That's awesome. That's awesome. How about you, Erica?
Yes. Process of elimination. I am the senior program instructor at our San Antonio site at Paws for Purple Hearts. And I do a lot of the dog stuff on that side. So primary responsibilities are training the dogs for our placements. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about what that means and what those are in a little bit, as well as help facilitate some of our unique to our organization, canine-assisted warrior therapy, which I'm also sure we'll talk about a little bit more. And so I do a lot of the dog stuff. I have to think. Let's see. I joined in 2019, summer of 2019. I love it. She gives me validation whenever we're doing this because I'm like, yes. 2019, coming up on almost 5 years. And I was a dog trainer before, was really interested in service dog training, had done some of that before. I've also done like rescue dog work and those types of things. So I did not join for the human side, but I have learned that it is an equal part to enjoy here at Paws for Purple Hearts.
Yeah.
So,
I bet.
I am one of the more senior ones here. I've been here, I think, the longest of the group that we have here. So it's been a while.
Fantastic. Well, we're so happy to have you here.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is going to be a fun conversation. And anybody watching or interested in Paws for Purple Hearts, there should be a link you can go to, and we'll talk about how to get more in touch with them. But please let us know your experiences with service dogs and military veterans and things like that. I'm sure there are lots of people that might be watching that would be, also have a story or, somebody they know, right, who knows somebody in their family. So we'd love to know all about it. And if you're watching on the replay, please enter your comments as well.
Yeah. And I think the mission is just amazing. Like, supporting veterans with service dogs is like incredible. And I'm curious how Paws for Purple Hearts got started. If you can give us a little bit of background on how the organization started.
Yeah, so we PPH, Paws for Purple Hearts, started out as a pilot program at our sister organization, Bergen University of Canine Studies. That university is actually where all of our trainers have to go in order to qualify to work for PPH.
As a trainer.
As a trainer. Yep. As a trainer. I did not have to go to Bergen. And it started in, I believe, 2006 as a pilot program, and it was about a 5-year pilot program. And then in 2011 is when we were fully incorporated as a 501c3.
Okay.
So this summer, in July, I don't have the date at the top of my head, will be our 13th year anniversary being Paws for Purple Heart. So,
and you guys are all over the country. You're in a hub in San Antonio, but you have other hubs around the country. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we currently have now 7 sites operating. We have, of course, here in San Antonio.
We're the best. But we like it here.
Yes. And we have a site out in Rutherglen, Virginia, one in Anchorage, Alaska, Tacoma, Washington, San Diego, California, Bay Area, California, and then also this is a new recent one, North Bay, California.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have our headquarters out in California currently, but they are now moving to Canyonville, Oregon. So they're planning this big move right now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of adjustments going on.
Yeah. Well, it says something when your organization, starts with a little germ, right? And then it blossoms and grows. And now it's, really nationwide. It not only says something for the work that you do, but also for the need that's out there,
that's
right?
what I was going to say.
Yeah, there was such a great need, and it was just such positive feedback, with the pilot program that we're like, well, there's military individuals everywhere. Why can't we do this on a larger scale?
Yeah.
Really, we can't take credit for being the ones that expanded, but it's been really a part of one of the chapters, especially here in Military City, in San Antonio. Like it's so important because there's just such a huge need for service dogs and for alternate forms of therapy here for our military individuals, both active duty as well as veterans.
Right, exactly. Now, you mentioned the canine-assisted warrior program. Maybe you could explain a little bit about what that is. Like, how many? I'm just curious. Like, how many dogs? How many people do you serve? Like, what's involved in all of that? That would be cool.
All of our sites take part in canine-assisted warrior therapy, so I don't have the numbers, based on a national.
Right.
But for here, our canine-assisted warrior therapy, it's a very unique program to our organization where we actually have groups of military individuals, again, both veterans or active duty service members, that help partake in the training of our dogs for another fellow service member. And that's the really cool part about our program. A lot of service dog organizations, they're doing great work, but typically the dog, is done training somewhere between 2 and 3 years of age, and they're just exclusively working with a trainer or, individuals within the organization until they're placed. But with us, it ensures that our dogs can make impacts on people's lives, even during the training process. So sometimes our service dogs in training, they can start our canine-assisted warrior therapy when they're 6 months old and they're, practicing some of their commands with these groups of individuals. So we actually have groups from both VA facilities as well as a couple of DOD programs as well. And they actually travel to our facility and help us train our service dogs in training. So, we'll practice anything from, basic obedience manners, teaching a dog how to walk nicely on leash, because that's very important as a place service dog.
Right.
Some advanced tasking as well. Paws for Purple Hearts trains mobility assistance as well as psychiatric support service dogs. And so we'll focus on tasking specifically for those types of placement. But, specific tasks could be opening and closing doors, turning on and off lights, retrieving medication, noticing specific triggers that an individual has maybe when they're experiencing high levels of anxiety or a panic attack. Can actually teach them to do those things. And we hear often, individuals that are partaking in our canine-assisted warrior therapy, it's the highlight of their week. It's something that they really look forward to. And for, all sorts of reasons, they miss their pets at home. They're stuck here for a while, especially being Military City. They travel from all over for, recovery. And sometimes recovery means multiple surgeries, and multiple times of healing before they can finish their recovery. And so they might be here 6 months, couple years away from their family, their home, and they miss their pets. And so it's really neat that they're able to partake in this type of program. And it's helpful for us as well, because our dogs can have behaviors that are proofed. We get to see, you know, does the dog really enjoy, you know, sometimes our dogs have preferences. We currently have a dog in training here. She's a very big flirt. She likes men, and that's who she wants to work with.
We're our team here. We're all women, so
Oh, that's so
everybody
fun.
has our preferences.
That's
At
hilarious.
the gym, sometimes when she goes with me, she will be making eyes at people. Like, Linda, stop that. You know, we get to see kind of those things, and it helps us see what type of placement would be best for that dog and where they would be happiest and the most successful.
Right.
So
Is there anybody that helps train that also ends up with the dog? Hey, dog.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we, like any other organization, the need is so great. We do have a wait list. So it's something where an individual would need to be able to get onto the wait list in order to be matched with a service dog. They would need to meet some certain qualifications working with like a healthcare provider. They would need to have a diagnosis that would stipulate that they would need, that's not a word, stipulate. Words are hard today. Stipulate that they would benefit from a psychiatric support or mobility assistance service dog, and that type of thing. And sometimes the wait list can be really, really long. It takes 2 to 3 years to train one of our dogs from start to finish. We start when they're really young, and it takes a couple years for them to fully mature. And during that time frame, they learn like 100 plus commands in order to be a service dog. So it takes a while. So I always tell people, I know it can be kind of discouraging, you know, when you are applying, not just at organization, any service dog organization worth their salt. Sometimes the wait list is years long. I mean, unfortunately, that is standard because we want to make sure that they are getting a dog that is fully trained and ready to go.
Right.
And that type of thing.
Is there anything, sorry, I'm just, as you're chatting, I'm like coming up with all these.
Ask all the questions.
So like, I've got 2 questions. One, is there anything like any unique skill that a dog has learned that is not, that's kind of atypical to the general skills that maybe you can think of, like a particular case for a particular individual that needed assistance in a particular way? Or, you know, is there something really unique or something for that where you've trained the dog, but now you're adding additional task or skill to the dog to help with that one particular individual's needs at all?
Question. I was like, it took me a second, but I'm like, that's a good question. I will say, you know, we won't place a dog in a situation where, like, let's say the individual needs like a diabetic alert service dog. So we won't place them as a mobility assistance or psychiatric support, and then they learn to do that later. They're still like, that's what they're placed to do. But it doesn't mean that the dog doesn't pick up on some things on their own. So I can't think of any particular examples within the Paws for Purple Hearts community. I also don't work with the clients as much. We do have a national client manager, and she's on top of all those things. But I can say I've been in the service dog world for 10-ish, I can terrible at math in my head, 10-ish years. And there have been instances where I've seen, let's say the dog is placed, whatever the task is they're placed to be, let's say mobility assistance. And let's say that individual maybe also deals with some seizures or some low blood sugars for diabetes or something like that. Some of the dogs will pick up on those things and kind of figure out their own way to communicate. I mean, not to share too much information about myself, but I'm a type 1 diabetic, and some of the dogs on my training string, they alert, and I have never taught them how to do that. No, when Erica's blood sugar is weird, because the dog will stare at me a lot, no matter where I'm going, the dog will just sit and watch me as I go by. I'm like, oh, that dog is alerting.
That's incredible.
Dogs are so amazing, aren't they? They're
so phenomenal. It's incredible.
Yeah. And I've heard stories, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but like sometimes when people have high stress levels or anxieties, the dog will like lay on their chest to like help, you know, like bring them. I just like, I could use that every day. Like I could use that service every day.
It is nice as one of the trainers. We do have like a full size bed in our training facility, and we actually do teach the dog to apply deep pressure therapy, which is kind of what you have, where they're laying across the person's body, almost like a weighted blanket type scenario. I can neither confirm or deny that I have taking a nap on the bed with the dog where I was
training, right? You're a dedicated trainer.
That's right.
You go to the ends of the earth to make sure.
It's so nice. And it, you know, and you can teach them to do that, you know, even sitting on the couch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes too, one of the commands that's really common that we teach our dogs, it's called visit, where if an individual is sitting down, the dog will like if this is the person's lap, the dog will take their chin and rest it on their lap.
Okay.
And I will see in our canine assisted warrior therapy sessions, often dogs that tend to pick up on some of those, you know, higher levels of anxiety or just anxiety in general, a lot of times they'll pro offer that command. There's one on my string in particular. He does it all the time. And I took him to the on a field trip this morning to our San Antonio Zoo to do some training. And I was a little nervous, to be perfectly honest, because I'm like, oh, there's a lot of children about and it's a day and I'm getting a little anxious. He was offering visits quite a bit. And I was like, oh, thanks, buddy. Like I'm not a military individual, but I could still benefit from that as well. But dogs are really intuitive and it's really nice. And that's something that we specifically purpose breed for. And our organization, we want to make sure they have some of those traits and characteristics that work really well with the humans that we're placing them with. Yeah.
Do dogs
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Hillary.
Sorry.
Speaking of breeds, do you have particular breeds that you tend to gravitate towards for service dogs?
Yeah.
I was like, you answer this one. I've been talking so much. You have to tell me to be quiet sometimes.
Off your soapbox.
I do have to get off my soapbox.
But yeah, we do work with 2 specific breeds. We work with golden retrievers, Labradors, or a cross of the 2.
Okay.
Those are the breeds that we primarily work with, and we do get our dogs from like our own breeding program that our national site handles. And they disperse the puppies as needed to the various sites. And then occasionally we will get dogs from like an outside breeder if like their genetics testing, you know, is all good to go, or, you know, if their temperament is like really perfect for service dog work. But yeah, those are the dogs that we primarily work with right now.
How often do you get dogs? I mean, do you get them throughout the year, or is it kind of like a springtime and you go through the training and then there's a graduation and then you get another?
Honestly, it really just kind of depends, you know, we could never really tell. We can guesstimate sometimes when one of our females will be ready, you know, for her breeding cycle, but sometimes they have an idea of their own and their timing is not what we were planning.
Or the
numbers, because, you know, sometimes we don't know, is it going to be a litter of 10? Is it going to be a litter of 2? You know, is it going to be a litter of 1? We've had that as well. And so we're like, our plans need to change slightly based on the number. So we do the best that we can, because science does help with those types of things, but sometimes we don't know. So, but typically kind of throughout the year, we'll try to kind of space them out. We have 3 trainers at our San Antonio site here, and we are each responsible for 3 dogs on our training string. So typically we try to kind of space it out a little bit. So you might be working with like maybe a 6-month-old puppy, and then you have a 1.5-year old dog, and then 2+ years old, you're working with another dog and you're looking at finishing that dog and completing and polishing up before they're placed. So it kind of tends to overlap a little bit. And then sometimes there's large litters and we're like, oh, we got 2 6-month-old puppies that we're working with. It keeps you on your toes. There's never a bad day here. But
and I suppose it's nice to have that kind of variation in the ages, because the dogs are learning from each other as well. So you're kind of you're not having a bunch of puppies at the same time, all trying to focus. So
they do like to learn from each other. There are some days where I'm like, children, down now. But the good and the bad, sometimes they can learn from each other. It's like kids, though. Like, it takes some time, and there's some days where you're like, and today I have to lead with empathy, even though I really don't feel like it. But then there's other days where you're like, wow, you did so good. Good job. I know that was really hard for you. Not the humans. You do a good job all the time.
Thank you.
It's something you knew that they, had to problem solve to work. You're like, wow, good job. We've been working on that. Just teaching the dogs to be in the human world can take some time. And, ignore crowds and not, wander off with kids that come over that want to play. Public transportation can be kind of big sometimes, flying on a plane. They need to be able to know how to do that. And the only way for them to really learn how to do that is to experience it, and those types of things. So we do all sorts of things in public with our dogs. They need to be able to handle all those situations so they can be a support for their individual once they're placed. That's the whole point of why they're there. A really common thing that we'll hear for individuals that are applying for a service dog, they want to do things that maybe you and I don't really think about as being difficult. Like they want to go to the movies with their family, or they want to go out to eat when, their friends are visiting and they feel like that's too hard. They can't do that, without a service dog. And when they do have a service dog, all of a sudden they're like, wow, I have a battle buddy that can do those things with me. I don't have to be afraid anymore. So, it's huge. And I mean, taking the dog to the movies is work for me because I'm training it, but it would be nice if I had this high skill level. Like if I was having a dog that was placed, it'd be nice to have that buddy.
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't imagine, I have family that's been in the military. I personally have not. And I know, when you're trained in the military to look around every corner, right. And just be on your guard all the time. And then to come home and have to kind of reprogram that skill. So, if you're walking into a convenience store and there's aisles like everywhere that you can't really see everybody there, that could be something that triggers your anxiety because that's what you were trained to do is be on your guard and look around every corner. And knowing that you've got a dog there that can kind of sense that, and bring that calmness down and all of that. I just know how important all of the work that you're doing is. And, it's so amazing to hear. Obviously I get so excited to hear it. So, that's where all the questions come up, but, I'd love to spend a day, in the life at your facility. That would be so fun to do.
Dani keeps saying that she would like to start a podcast. She keeps trying to get me involved. She's like, Erica, we're going to do a podcast. I was like, okay, I will help you to do a podcast, but doing a day in the life of a dog trainer, I think would be illuminating for a lot of people, just kind of seeing all the little pieces that go into it, because everybody sees the end product, which is cool and huge and hugely beneficial. But I think people would have a lot of fun figuring out like all the steps that we took to get there. But
I think there'd be a greater appreciation for how many years of work that go into it, that this is not just like, sit, stay, commit, sit, stay, whatever, shake your hand. There's a lot of steps involved just to get one task, like turning on the light switch or whatever those things are, right? But there's just a lot of repetition and a lot of focus and work that goes into it. And so, you'd get a lot of great big fans like we are, that appreciate all the work that you do, not just what the dogs and the vets do. So
I can't take any credit for it because we always joke, people don't want to see us. They want to see the dogs, which is perfectly fine. I am happy to be remembered the lady with the dog, wherever it is that I go, because the dogs are great. They do a lot of great work. And it is a big time investment. With as a trainer, one of your dogs, if they are placed as a service dog, like it's a huge honor. Not every dog makes it. There's some dogs that say, being a service dog is not my cup of tea. I'd really rather be a pet, which fair. I'd rather not work every day as well. I would rather fair, babe. Like I'm okay with that. Because we want the dogs to enjoy the work. And we don't want them to do something that they don't enjoy. But not every dog makes it. So you might invest, 2 years in a dog and you're like, okay, service dog is not, not your cup of tea. But at the same time, again, it's really great to see how many lives they've impacted during those 2 years. Even if they don't make it, they're still involved in the canine-assisted warrior therapy. And people remember them. I mean, we meet so many people every day, but I know because I started here like 6 months before COVID started, and we were doing a lot of stuff, in the community, and we were visiting some of the VA hospitals and doing social therapy. And then COVID hit, and we all know how that ended. And we were secluded for a really long time. And like 2 years later, I would be at an event or, at the VA, and I was going to another appointment with one of the dogs, and people would stop me. And they would remember me or remember the dog. They would say the name, and I'm thinking, how can you remember that 2 or 3 years later? Like, think about like one little moment with that dog makes all the difference. It's just in passing. There'd be people we met like an inpatient program, and now they're in an outpatient program with the VA. Like that just happened a couple weeks ago. We were at an event, and they said, "I remember you, and you had this dog named this," and I'm like, That was like 3 years ago.
I've even
That's
had
amazing.
Yeah, I've had those things happen, even just going to like regular community events, not even just like canine-assisted therapy sessions. I'll be handling a dog, and it'll have been the same event that we went to a whole year prior, and that same person that saw the one dog that we brought then came back again, hadn't seen her since, and she's like, "Yeah, you had Joy last time." I'm like, I don't remember,
but it's really cool to see. People have called my name at an airport, and because they, I guess, had seen pictures with one of the therapists that we work with in our canine-assisted warrior therapy. They've shared the pictures with a coworker, and so here's this person yelling my dog's name, running after me. Hi, nice to meet you. I don't know who you are, but clearly you know my dog. So it's like just like ripple effects. Like it just expands.
That's so cool.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Do you have any more stories that you can share kind of dogs and real life stories of the placements and things like that you can share?
Well, not to be too specific, because obviously we can't share too many things to protect people.
In general.
In general, I mean, I can share something that a story. Well, yeah, it's a story that actually just happened earlier this week. And so we had a canine-assisted warrior therapy session. And one of my young puppies on my training string, love him dearly. He is a sweet, sweet baby. She already knows what I'm talking about.
I was going to say, Danny is cracking up already.
But this boy, he is high energy and high excitement all the time.
He's a whole lot of dog.
And I'm like, dude, I'm just going to need you to chill for just a second. And so he was this individual. She ended up coming a few minutes late. She had another appointment. And so the dog that was available was my boy. And she was so excited to work with him. And I, being his mother, I can be a little bit of a perfectionist sometimes. So sometimes I'm like, oh, Lord, here we go. Like, please don't jump on this woman. Like, please don't do these things. And in my mind, I'm like, just calm yourself. Like, be you, but not so much you. Be a little less you. And she had the greatest time. Like, the entire time, she thought it was the best time ever. And I'm looking at it like, sir, like, you have to do this. And when she left, we ended the session, and she said, I'm just so glad that I get to work with him. She's like, his energy brings me energy.
That's awesome.
That just makes my day. And I'm like, Erica, you need to like not be so focused on like what you think it should look like. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, that's atrocious behavior. Like you should be handled. But she's like, his energy brings me energy. And I was like, you know what? Thanks for reminding me of that, because like I forget that sometimes, when I'm doing like some of the training. But I'm like, don't tell my dog that, because that will blow up his ego. He'll never do what it is that I ask.
She said I could go nuts.
I know, right? It's like, this is what she said, Ma. I'm gonna bring this back to you.
She validated my energy.
So I mean, that kind of hit me over the head a little bit when she said that, because I thought, well, I never thought of it that way.
That's amazing.
Sometimes
how many placements do you do? Like, or how many people get to benefit from the program?
Not as many as we would like. I mean, to be perfectly honest, because we can always use more placements. But just to give an example, we actually just hosted a team training here where there were 2 dogs that graduated here in San Antonio, 1 service dog and 1 facility dog. We also placed facility dogs with like healthcare providers that primarily service military or military individuals. They can utilize that dog in their practice. So it generally tends to be like healthcare workers and those types of things. And then we also, just the week before at our San Diego, California site, had 2 service dogs that graduated. So already this year, we've already placed 4, which is great. So generally we have 2 to 3 team trainings a year. Each site takes turns hosting. We kind of look at like who the individual is that's receiving the dog and what site the dog is at. So there's the less amount of travel as possible, because traveling is stressful in itself. And those types of things. And so we're also planning another one, in the fall, I believe at our Ruther Glen, Virginia site. So we don't know how many dogs are graduating quite yet. We've got a group of dogs that are kind of in the final phase of an assessment and those types of things. But it could be anywhere from, 2 to 5 placements a year. We're hoping that as we grow that we can do more. But I'm just like, hey, combined with the placement and the canine-assisted warrior therapy, I'm like, both of them together, done deal. Win-win.
I was gonna say, with talking about placements and everything, like not looking at the canine assisted therapy side, we've kind of gauged that each dog, like throughout the course of like 1 year of their training, will impact at least 40 to 60 veterans. So they're already like doing so much more. You know, wherever they end up at the end of their training.
That's a really good point. Yeah, exactly. That's something that's really unique to your program and something really special that it's and I didn't realize you did facility dogs, so they also get to help multiple people as well.
I'm actually hoping you can expand a little bit on what you mean by facility dog, because I think that'll be kind of a new term for some people as far as like what type of work do they do.
Right. They get the same training as our service dogs, so they'll know the same commands. But generally, just as a little backstory, we'll generally pick dogs that are good facility dog placements that tend to be social butterflies. They really enjoy being in groups of people. We tend to have dogs that are in 2 different camps. We have the service dog camp where the dog says, I have my one mom or dad. I like doing work for you. Ask me to do work all the time. I'm a workhorse. I really enjoy doing that. And then the facility dogs tend to be where they're like, I know how to do this stuff, but you have hands. You could do it yourself. And I would really rather just greet people all the time, which is great. We're like, we can utilize that skill.
That is awesome.
So you have hands. Don't ask me to do it multiple times. I know that you can open the fridge by yourself. I don't need to do it.
The personality in some of these dogs is very
but that's the perfect personality for a facility. Like that's exactly what multiple people need.
Because we need dogs that are comfortable in large groups of people. Not every dog is comfortable with 50 kindergartners greeting them at a career day or those types of things. And they need to be able to be appropriate, greeting all different types of people. And it's things that you think about too. Like if you have a facility dog, you need to teach them when they're greeting somebody, they don't get to crotch boop, which is a very natural dog thing to do. But you're like, nope, that's not allowed. You can't do that. So you have to have a dog that's very appropriate. And with these facility dogs, like I mentioned, they're placed with like a healthcare provider. Usually mental health tends to be the most popular option. And that individual utilizes the dog in their practice. So if they're doing one-on-one, counseling sessions, group therapy, one of our facility dogs that was placed last year works at a VA hospital in Palo Alto, California. And he's actually works in the hospice ward. So he helps a lot with visiting patients one-on-one in a hospital, but also helping that individual, the counselor that he's placed with like grief counseling for the family and those types of things. Not everybody loves dogs. So, obviously there's instances where maybe he's not used, but there's very few of those people that don't like dogs. Generally, everybody does. And it's just something that can just be there for comfort. But they can also provide some of those psychiatric support service dog commands that we've trained. They could still provide deep pressure therapy. They could still,
the snuggle.
They could still snuggling with the person. That's actually one of the commands we teach them, to snuggle. Appropriately, not with all just paws and elbows.
Appropriately. Too many kisses on the face.
Yeah, my dog would be licking your face like crazy.
The first date, okay, we're not making out. But just to provide comfort in that way, and their handler, while their handler maybe isn't the individual that has anxiety or PTSD or whatever the case may be, they work with a lot of individuals that do, and their dog could provide assistance in that aspect. They could still nudge the individual if they're experiencing a panic attack. And it really encourages people to seek out the resources that are available to them as well. There might be some people that maybe, I don't want to say are resistant to therapy, but are uncomfortable with the process. They don't know what to expect. Anxiety tends to focus around the unknown is scary. So, but if they know that, there's a dog in that office, it might help them open up, be a little bit more comfortable just accessing the resources that's available. And that type of thing. So
sometimes dogs working with children in therapy, it doesn't even feel like therapy. Like the kids don't even know they're in therapy. If they're like reading a book to the dog or sitting, laying on the dog or whatever, just to bring their anxiety or issues. It's pretty neat. What a wonderful thing that you both are involved in. And my heart just grows like the Grinch. Like, and my heart is just growing bigger and bigger and bigger as we talk. this is so amazing. And I'm so glad we were able to connect with you. And again, I said it at the beginning, but if anybody watching has any stories they'd like to share or any questions that you might have, please put them in the comments below. I go online and I watch and I don't really participate as well, but we know we've got folks on here. If you'd like to, just open up and share, I think this is a topic that I think we can all learn from each other, right? And kind of build a community around. So really excited to be a part of this. And one of the other things so not just learning more about all the wonderful things you do, am I excited about, but also our collaboration on our Snuffle Toy Club. So for those of you that aren't familiar, Hillary and I was going to say Patty and I, that's Patty's name. Hillary and I have a Snuffle Toy Club. It's a subscription for craft kits, a different Snuffle toy that you get to make every month. And next month's toy is in honor of Paws for Purple Hearts. And we're so excited about it. I'm really I just think it's the greatest thing ever.
And we do have a little sneak peek for our May toy. So here, I will show that real quick. So here's our.
Oh my God, so
cute. So there's a hint, everybody. Yep. So you get a hint on what, I wonder what this could be. I don't know. We'll see.
Wait,
I can't do that one. Okay. I'm too old school. My fingers don't do that. I don't know how to do that.
So that I can be more hip, but it's not working.
I'm a lost cause when it comes to that. I'm all thumbs when it comes to that. But yeah, no, this is exciting. So if anybody's interested, the doors are open for the Snuffle Toy Club. This is not necessarily to promote the Snuffle Toy Club, but if you are interested in joining, the doors are open and you can go to snuffletoyclub.com and be a part of this amazing organization that Erica and Dani are a part of, and just really help support and share the love. Just even making the toy next month, I just know it'll give us all the feels, right? So it's not only something fun to make, but this is such an extra special toy for May. And then you get to watch your pup fall in love with your, creation that you make. So, and just knowing that other dogs are helping other humans and that, we can all do so many wonderful things together with the canine human bond. I just think that's spectacular. So so please, everybody, check it out, see if it's for you. And you're more than welcome to join in the fun, especially at this time. This is a really fun time.
We're so excited for this because mental enrichment is so important. It's not all work. Here, even with our service dogs, we really prioritize play and unwinding and having fun. Snuffle mats and snuffle toys is one of our favorite ways. Our volunteers enjoy interacting with our dogs in that fashion, and our dogs, always love them because there's delicious little surprises that are
exactly. It's a win-win for them for sure.
Absolutely, it's great for us because they get some mental stimulation. They take a nice nap afterwards, which is always great for us as mothers of our canine friends. But it's a win-win all around. So we're really, really excited, and I'm excited to make some.
Oh, thank you. We are too.
Well, and I would love to let our audience know where they can go to support you guys, where they should follow you, all the places that you want to send people to.
So we do have our overall organization website at pawsforpurplehearts.org. You can find all kinds of information about not just us, but all of our other sites for your local PPH site. We also have an Amazon gift registry that each site has. If anybody wants to donate any items from our list, we're always looking for toys and treats. Those are things that we go through quite a bit.
Put in the snuffle mats.
How do we get that? We should get that link. We should get that link and update our description. So that link to the what is that?
I saw the link tree, so I can grab those. Oh, okay. And I'll pull those. Perfect. I'll pull those links out. So.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. That's awesome. Yes.
And what's neat for what I've done for at least our site is that for anybody that has met our dogs or has scoped out our different dogs on our sites, we have different tags for each of our dogs. So
That's
if you have a favorite dog that you want to get something for, or for their birthday, we have that too.
Yes. Our dogs go shopping on Amazon.
Yeah.
They get to pick.
We throw
what they
birthday
like.
parties for our dogs all the time.
Yes.
So we always like encourage folks like, you know, if you guys want to send like a gift for them, we dress them up, we do a photo shoot, we do a birthday party. Yeah, they get to open their presents. And then we're also on Facebook at PPH San Antonio. We're on Instagram at pawsforpurplehearts.tx. And we also have a YouTube channel that I am very slowly but aggressively
podcast is going.
But we do have some videos posted of like the team trainings that we've done in our graduation videos. We have an intro to our site for anybody that wants to kind of like meet and greet the team without actually meeting us. And that's our Paws for Purple Hearts South Central. So a bunch of different ways to find us.
That's awesome.
Say hi, follow us.
Yes, everybody watching is local to San Antonio. Each of our dogs has business cards as well.
They're like collectors.
They are collector's cards. So I give you permission to run us down anywhere in public if you see us with the dogs for a card, because we do have them.
Yep, they're like limited edition because once the dog goes.
That's amazing.
That's so cool. I love that.
I love that idea.
Professionals, they get their own business
Indeed.
card. I feel like someday they'll get their own LinkedIn as well, but I haven't gotten to that point yet.
Let's put in their own email first so they can respond.
That's awesome. Well, thank you ladies so much for being here. I hate that we're ending our chat, but we will be back again next month. So everybody stay tuned. We will bring these two lovely ladies back because we will reveal the toy for May. So that'll be a fun little thing we get to do. That'll be exciting. So thank you again. Thank you everybody for watching, and please comment below or ask your questions. We would love to, I'm sure Erica and Dani would be happy to answer any questions.
Absolutely. Yes. Send them our way. We're happy to answer whatever y'all need.
All right. And thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks everyone.
Bye guys.
Bye.